We're going to talk about breaking into Shopify through partnerships. And if you've been listening to me rant through the break just now, we have a good story here to tell and about what we've created as a business. You're going to this is actually the story of my business in a way. And we're going to kind of take you through how I was able to acquire a lot of partnerships in business within the Shopify tech ecosystem, most specifically. And so definitely the agencies are going to really love this. So I've worked for a whole bunch of companies in the past, worked tech agency, founded my own agency for 5 years or so. Then I worked in-house at e-commerce business and in-house in e-commerce tech, sponsored company businesses, sold businesses, invested in companies, all that stuff. What I do right now at ecommercetech.io, we connect e-commerce merchants with the right e-commerce technology partners. So you're in the right place in order to learn today. Like I said, if you're serving e-commerce merchants, as opposed to if you are one, it's not going to be as valuable for you. And so if you're on the tech side and if you're on the agency side, I would say that it works really well with tech. Agency, it will absolutely work. And agencies should always be thinking about how they might be able to break into technology, by the way. But as an agency partner, you're going to want to choose technology partners that strengthen your core offering to your customers. And I don't go into that in detail in the presentation, but just think about how you choose the tech partners that you're already using, strengthen those partnership relationships would be really valuable to you. So we are a relatively new business, started in March 2019. And in this short period of time, we've been able to get over 140 tech partners through this strategy. We've had over 6,000 people attend events with basically in the beginning, no email list. Now it's grown to quite a size. And then we've consulted with over 90 brands. And maybe this tech partner should have been on the left because the partnerships brought us the event registrants that brought us the tech consults, and that all fits into our business's media model. Being a media and events company, we need merchants' eyeballs on one side, and then we need tech and agency partners who can serve the merchants with content, with their tools, and things like that to provide value. So that's kind of our business model in a nutshell and what we've been able to do with this strategy. When you think about the Shopify market, the ecosystem as a whole, the tech ecosystem, it's even crazier than this. We actually created a whole mind map of the ecosystem. And this is just the beginning. We'll never be done exploring this ecosystem. We're kind of taking the Scott Brinker approach, who maps the whole marketing technology landscape. We'll eventually have our own version of that. But this is just some of the tech companies that are moving into e-commerce quickly. Here are some of my favorites, just the ones that I've worked with a little bit more closely over the last year. And there's no mistake about it. It's expanding faster than we can, with 5 new apps a day on the app marketplace, and with the e-commerce rising as fast as humanly possible. And in the last 2 weeks, 2 months now, it's skyrocketing in growth. Retail, of course, is closing. And so we know that like e-commerce and the technology that serves e-commerce is where there's a lot of growth, and where there's growth, there's opportunity, which is why I kind of subtitled this talk, How I Reverse Engineered the Concept of Shopify Partnerships as a Whole into a Business. So it all started, let's go all the way back to the beginning, with this tool called Rebrandly, which is it's a simple URL shortener. And I went into this business and I saw they were getting 100 email leads a day. And it turns out tech companies, especially free tech tools, are really good at generating email leads. And that means they have vast email lists, and a lot of, they have good customer lists, they have large quality email lists. And so I had that nugget of information in my mind. And a few years later, I'm working at a company called Gorgeous, and I see that they have a vast array of partnerships, and they're working really well. They have integration partners. They have kind of just any other tech partner in the Shopify landscape. They have agency partners, and then because they're a help desk for e-commerce, they also have the outsourcing partners, the customer service type agency partners, and they're all promoting Gorgias. They're loving the tool, and you could just see this cohesive ecosystem existing. And when you look around that tech landscape of all of these guys from here, yeah, every single one of them has a partner program. They have like almost every single one of them. They have a link at the bottom of their homepage. They make it very easy to gain access to inside their business and start talking about a partner program. And because of that rise of e-commerce and the fact that it's like 10,000 merchants a month, 20,000, I don't even know what the number is, but tens of thousands of merchants are joining every month. There's a constant hunger for tech companies to be finding more merchants to serve, and it's just basically literally impossible to stay up with this. And I think if you're here and you're watching from the e-commerce perspective, it goes to show that you have increased competition in the industry, and you also have you also have an increase in the tech space that's so vast that like your head is probably spinning on staying up to date with the tools. That's where we could talk about that later, where we come in. But other than that, we can think about how are all of these Shopify partners are just really desperate to get in front of new merchants, and there's no really good place to do it. They're all able to partner with each other and do it together, but there are very few kind of central hubs for this. And so that's kind of how our business came to be, and why we wanted to serve the Shopify merchant community. But in order to do that, and so I recognized, partnerships are a really great way in. The partner ecosystem is extremely, let's say, what's the right word? Happy to help promote and share things. But of course, at the end of the day, if no one's going to want to promote me for no particular reason, and of course, with any good business, it always starts by providing value. And so I thought to myself, okay, how can I provide all Shopify partners with an immense amount of value? And so this is our business model. This won't be the same for you, but I want you to think about how you can also reverse engineer what I've done here in order to work for your agency or your tech company, for your business. And so we start with free exposure. And for us, that is specifically a video review. We start with that partnership and talking to a partner, and we offer free video review of their tech tool because we need to know the tech landscape and ecosystem. There are other things that we offer for free in our partnership model. This is a phenomenal foot in the door to getting value from your partner. So I guess the long story short of partnerships as a whole, maybe it's even been addressed already today or throughout the other sessions, is giving a lot before you get. In fact, quick caveat on that, at Gorgias, we actually saw that when we gave a partner a lead, that increased the chance of them giving us a lead like immensely. So sending leads ended up becoming a goal. So as instead of receiving leads from partners, we actually worked harder at sending leads to partners. That's kind of essentially how this business came to be. So we knew that if we could send leads to partners, we would get our value off of the back of this. And we provided a whole bunch of free things that we could give to partners that drive exposure. Now, every partnership is different, and whether that exposure leads to a customer is kind of complicated. It doesn't work every time for every business, for every partner. Some tools are require, have a very long buying cycle or are only needed in certain situations. And some tools hit the mass market and obviously are a little bit better for a media company like ours. But what we found was that when we offered free video reviews and a few other things to our partners, we were able to turn that for our business into sponsorships at an insanely high close rate. We were able to convert partners into sponsors, which is our goal. What you're going to convert a partner into, of course, is going to be somebody that drives you leads or revenue in that way. And I'm not going to address, even though I could address the we have a partner revenue model, which is we make money off of the leads we send to partners. But let's talk about it more from how do the partners send us leads, or how do we get not just that quote affiliate commission from a partner. We want to get we want them to be growing our business, and we want them to internally be working hard to figure out if their customers are right for our business, if their leads are right for our business. So we really want to tap into each partner's entire audience, not just capture a little commission off of our audience. And that's what we've been able to do at ecommercetech.io. I showed you the metrics earlier. It's the partnerships drive about right now 66% of our business. It does shrink because we are over time, because we are keeping the audience. So soon it'll be 50 and 40%. But it's been the major driver of growth for our business, so that we have been able to invest in the video reviews that we do for our partners. These video reviews actually cost us close to $1,000, but we don't mind paying for that, because first, it's kind of core to our business to learn about the partners. It provides value to them, which we just want to give. And then we know that some of these partners are good fits for sponsorships, and that will kind of come about naturally. And sorry to Mike and the Everflow team if that's a little incestual, because I know you guys are watching as well. But that's kind of the concept and core of the business. And so to walk that back to maybe how it'll work a little bit better for you, we have some key partnership activities here. The first thing is, if you're in tech, you can think about integrations as your strongest partnership and partnership opportunity. And I have seen tools like, I think I can say sumo.com. They've created integrations that pretty much don't do anything, but they just send a little bit of information back and forth between tools. But they identified that partner had the same target audience that they wanted to tap into. And so they built out the integration. They got listed on that site as an integration partner. They got that partner to email their leads. That partner now has, a dozen help desk articles that link to Sumo and explain their product and all that stuff. And of course, on that integrations page in the back end of that other app, you can see their app listed there. And so this is a, quote, growth hack to business. It's just building an integration partnership. And of course, start with the partners that are the integrations that are absolutely going to drive value to you. But you can think about prioritizing your integrations, not just on, okay, how many of our customers will use this? How many will benefit? What is the benefit really strong or not really strong? But also add in that additional component of, will this integration drive a lot of customers to us or not? And do they have a great partnership program on their end, or do they have a great marketing department on their end, so that we'll get the promotion that we really want out of this integration? So that's, I think, probably one of the most important things and tweaks you could make. And again, another good reason for an agency to have a tech product associated with it. First, remember, you get hundreds of email leads a day. It's insane. Just tech products obviously generate hundreds of leads. Whereas when I ran an agency, I was lucky to get 25 email leads a month. And so obviously a big difference. Maybe we got more at the end. I don't remember exactly, but you use the tech product as that introductory to perhaps what you might sell as an agency service off the back. And then the tech product also becomes integrated with all of these other amazing tools, so that they promote you, and thus that partner is driving significant benefit to you, and you're driving benefit to them because you're able to promote them, you're able to share them with your audience. And so in that way, in fact, like kind of pausing from a grand scheme of things here, you could kind of just feel, maybe this is what I needed to lead with, was the Shopify partner ecosystem is Shopify has everything. Every Shopify company is under there, and each of these little bubbles exist inside of it that are all of the apps. And a lot of them have a lot of overlap, which is great, but a lot of them don't have overlap. And by sharing, emails or events and stuff like that, you're passing the leads very effectively across partners in a way where it's clearly driving value to everybody involved, including the merchant, the end customer. Very important that the merchant is getting a lot of value with attending an event, with reading a blog post or something like that. Anytime you're sending a lead, the last thing you want to do, so looking at the third item here, lead sharing, you certainly don't want to just take your entire customer list, pass it to a new partner and say, find everybody that you want me to intro you to. I've seen it done, okay, and I know that some people do this, but what you really want to do is share leads that are raising their hand and saying, oh my gosh, I need this, right? So at Gorgeous, some people would say, oh, we need phone chat. So, we need phone support essentially. And they go, oh, we actually have a great partner for that. And so it's coming in one more slide, I think is enabling your partners to know when to send leads to you, and also being enabled to send leads to them. And I didn't want to go too far into that because I figure at an event like this, when we're talking partnerships, people understand sales enablement and success enablement and those types of things. But when you're looking at the Shopify app ecosystem as a whole, here are the main, and by the way, this is listed in value, in my opinion, in order of value, main activities that will help you generate goodwill from the partner, getting more leads from them. And you can think about it as both a giving and a taking, because we do need to do both, but especially, of course, we know that if we give, we will receive email leads. So we've got the integration. An event is a live event or an online event, specifically online today. An event is significantly different than a joint webinar. So what we saw in the past, and we tested this out back in the day, when you do a joint webinar between just two, let's say, tech providers or a tech and an agency partner, and even if it's a tech and an agency partner with a merchant present, so you're interviewing a merchant, it quickly becomes a pitch. It becomes a lot of like, I'm going to just sell you my tool and you're going to sell them your tool. And that's really bad for lots of different reasons. The first reason is because 50% of the attendees already know about 50% of the talk. So that's the number one thing you don't want to do, is just say, okay, we'll both do a demo of our products and we'll both email the list, they'll attend, and then we'll both demo our products. Well, half of those attendees, whatever it is, usually they're small turnouts events, already know about product A and half know about product B. That's how they got there. So I really don't like joint webinars from that standpoint. Now, if it is joint in webinar and there's a lot of ways to provide value, it's really value oriented, I can get behind that. But the beauty of an event is that especially a virtual event, it's a place where 10 partners can get together and send all of their emails to one event. Because there's so many different partners, you're getting significantly more value from attending the event. So it's just like a big gold nugget compared to a joint webinar. So that's the event, the lead sharing. Then we have the email swap. So I'm always concerned about these, because if you're going to do this with another partner or agency, there's no clear reason as to why the customer should care. That's why I like doing the email swaps around events, because the event is integral to providing somebody value and education to continue them as a marketer, as a business owner, as a merchant, as a customer experience professional, whatever, of course, the target audience is for you and your partners. But the email swap, which is just like, take a look at our new partner over here. They have a strong tool that does A, B, and C. That's just the sales pitch in the inbox. And I just don't like that concept. I try and avoid that at all costs, because it's always on us. The onus is on us to make sure that every message we send to our customers or our prospects or email list is starting with value to that person. Why should they care? And sure, 10 people might discover that it's a great product for them, so it could actually work. But the other, 99,000 on the email list are going like, this doesn't apply to me. I don't get why I got this. So make sure that those email swaps at least start with value. When it comes to the blog contribution, I hate guest blog swaps. So partners often go, hey, would you like to contribute to our blog? You can just write this whole article and then we'll rank for what you wrote about, and it'll backlink to your site. It's like, if you've ever written a blog post, it's 4 to 6 hours long, and it's quite a lot of work to 4 to 6 hours of work at least, if not more. And so I hate blog contributing and guest blog swapping. Also, have you ever gotten a lead from a guest blog post? Almost never does it come back into giving you an actual lead. Now, one thing you can do that I highly recommend and is definitely a key partnership activity within the Shopify ecosystem is backlinking to them by either a very short call out. So it's like, well, what's your one prediction for 2020? Like, is it, or 2021 perhaps now, as an example, and then you get them the backlink and the call out, but it took them 10 minutes, not 6 hours to create that piece of content. You can also, of course, get that backlink through a partnership directory, which I think is another slide, or through some other, like an event, like we're talking about, or some other piece of content that is like a video that then has a landing page associated with that video. So there's a lot of different ways to get the backlink without doing a total guest blog post swap. I don't recommend those. It's just too much commitment. Now, if you know that it's like Conversion XL or Social Media Examiner or Business Insider or something like that, those get lots of impressions and therefore are great. There's a handful of blogs in the e-commerce tech space that get, 50,000 to 100,000 visitors. Maybe Klaviyo, maybe Shopify themselves. If you get an opportunity, I do recommend spending the time for Shopify. But other than the big ones in the space, it's going to be tough to get value out of a guest blog swap. And it's honestly better written on your site, most likely. So for that reason, I don't do it. All right. So we've hinted at this a little bit, but just to make sure you know this to be true, every time you give a referral, you're more likely to get one. And every time you talk to a partner, you're more likely to get a referral as well. So keeping in touch with your partners is important. I mentioned we have over 140 partners. I actually do need to do the rounds on keeping in touch with probably another 50 or 60 that I haven't talked to in the last 2 to 3 months. But it's always good to do that. Another great way to do that is give a partner update email. So have your partners on a dedicated email list and send a notice to them about what's new in the business and how you're looking for certain opportunities and the opportunities you can provide. I think that's super important, and it's just a great way to re-engage it. Resparks conversations is a little bit easier than emailing partners one-on-one, but you kind of need to do both, right? And then, of course, we all know that most of the partnerships, here's the typical partnership meeting. All right, I'll break it down for you because we've done over 140 of these meetings, right? So partner says, oh, wow, I love what you're up to. And I go, oh, wow, this is amazing. And then and we go, oh, yeah, we should do X, Y, Z. Okay, let's set a time. I send them the link. They never respond. And then, of course, we aren't able to provide value to each other. And that's going to happen for lots of different reasons. But it's a choice perhaps by them. Now, I don't like ghosting, but it happens. But it's a choice on which partners you believe are going to drive you the most value. And if you can slim down your partner kind of repertoire, then I recommend doing it. Again, for me, I have to have all the partners in the ecosystem. It's kind of core to how our business operates. But for you, start with the partners who, the tech company that provides you the most money. If you're a conversion rate optimization agency, it's, your Optimizely or what is that other one? VBO, I think it's called. I forget what it stands for though. And whatever major optimization platform or tool you're using, become a stronger partner with them. Speak at their events. See if you can have them at your own event if you have a decent enough sized audience. See if you can get them contributing to content and stuff like that. So try and provide them some unique value, and in turn, they'll become stronger partners. And of course, if you can sales enable them, and you know what? One thing I didn't mention on partnerships is Shopify themselves have in-house kind of merchant success managers, right? MSMs that often refer agencies and tool providers based on their experience. So side note for breaking into Shopify, if you have a good Shopify partnership and are able to talk to their team, I do recommend it. That being said, Shopify, for me and for many other partners in the space, so I love Shopify, kind of like, the most important component perhaps of my whole business. But Shopify is kind of one of the worst partners right now, unless your name is Klaviyo or Just Uno or one of the top tier Shopify Plus partners. They just haven't been paying attention to us little guys because they're overwhelmed probably in so many different ways. So I don't really blame them for it. But just as a side note, don't expect much from Shopify today unless you have a great partnership already with them. But there is value to break in there. So the same way you might train a merchant success manager to mention your agency or mention your tech company when when that merchant is saying something that relates to your product or service. You want to do the same thing with partners and with their sales teams and with their success teams. So having sales and success collateral that help them identify, even if it's one pager, even is great. And if you can at all, just sit down with the sales team at a partner company or with the success team. It depends on where you typically are sold in the process. So it kind of depends on the tool. A lot of times it's like an add-on in success that you'll end up being for somebody else's tech tool. So obviously sit with the success team. Or if you're an alternative to somebody, then maybe you want to sit in the sales process. Maybe, they only do business with companies that can spend 50,000 a month and you cater to 10,000 a month. You definitely want to make sure that you've talked with the sales team to be incorporated in that way. Just a completely random example. So all partnership systems have tiers at some point, and in the Shopify ecosystem, there's no difference. Your A tier partnerships are the big brands who have the most reviews in the Shopify App Store. They have been around for a long time. They are Shopify Plus partners, and you just know that they have really large email lists. They have a strong audience. They have the most integrations, and they're great. Now, the B partnerships are definitely companies that are either breaking into e-commerce. So we could say Everflow, which I think is an established company, but breaking into e-commerce, but not necessarily the biggest known. And it's not about what you do. It's just about in the ecosystem, right? So being the biggest known brand in the space. Now, Bs are also going to be growth-oriented companies, which I really love. I love partnering with a lot of companies that are new, hot technology, but haven't really become mainstream to be known like a Klaviyo or a Privy or Justuno or I don't know who else, Oberlo, whoever else is just prevalent in the ecosystem. And then the C's are obviously going to be if you're a small agency yourself, don't feel bad about this. You have a couple of clients, you have a small list, your tool is free or freemium. You have your two guys in a garage that are just growing your brand, and it can be tough to get value out of C partners. Oftentimes in the C category, you're dealing with the CEOs and owners of the company themselves instead of a dedicated partner manager, and that does make things a little bit trickier. For me personally, I still don't mind because there's a lot of value in exposing those tools. But for you and the partnerships you might create within the Shopify ecosystem, you're going to probably, I would just recommend if you're breaking in, sticking a lot with Bs because they'll give you more attention than your A tier partnerships. And they have a lot more to give, and they have a lot that you can give them in return. And Cs are just depending on how they align with your business exactly. All right, so some quick tips. I can't tell you, it's already, with 140 partners, it's happened maybe 5 times since starting the business. Partner managers change jobs. And when you go to email them and you realize, oh my God, I don't have a connection at this company anymore, that's always a bad thing. So try and know more than just the partner manager. Integrate with the success team, the sales team, the marketing team, the CEO, the product marketing manager, whoever you feel is right to know in there. I do recommend trying to get into more than one contact. And sadly, a lot of partner managers that either leave or get fired do not properly hand off their contacts to the next partner manager. Typically, partnerships are like all talk and no play until you hand over a lead to them. Once you give somebody a lead, they start to treat you like, oh yeah, let's include you in this, let's get you in that, And so I do recommend spending a lot of effort in generating a lead for your partner first. And then, yeah, I already mentioned the newsletter update here, and I can tell you that this is the most prevalent thing in Shopify partnerships specifically. No one is actually tracking the revenue generated from their partner program, from their joint webinar, from their event, from their email swap, from their integration and stuff like that. So make sure that with each activity that you have with the partner, you're tracking the goal metric, which should always be closely associated to revenue, and that it's working for your business. Here's what you're actually going to do to get this moving. You can get introed. I have a lot of partners. So if you want to meet some of these people, you can just email me. Show you my email in a second. And I know we're over on time. Just give me one more second. you set up your first meeting, show the value you can offer, learn their company inside and out. And for me, it's giving a video review, but you also meet with the sales team and success teams if that helps you get more for them. Give them the value they deserve before asking for anything. So getting them featured in a blog post, doing a joint webinar event, try and send them one lead. Then from there, after that moment, make sure that they understand your business inside and out, that you're helping the partner and you're helping the sales team find the right opportunities for them to market to you. And if this is kind of optional, build an integration. And my slide isn't loading. That is so weird. This is just a slide of all my favorite partners. So I just wanted to show that to you. Can you see it here? It wouldn't load. All right, so here are some of my best partners in the e-commerce ecosystem. There was one here. Who is this? I think is this Route? No, Route's there. For some reason, this isn't showing. So there's some sort of bug or issue here. But these are just great partners to start with, have great programs, great people. And I highly recommend reaching out to them and starting your partnerships with them. That's it from me. If you'd like to become a partner with me, you can reach out, just use this link, new partner call. I have a podcast on e-commerce. If you're a merchant that still happen to be here, you can follow us on YouTube as well. And if you have any other questions, you can email me, Derric@ecommercetech.io. All right. Where shall we go from here? Derric? Okay. Hello.
Thanks, Derric. If anyone has any questions, go ahead. You can put in the chat as well. But if not, we can always move on to our next panel, which will be at 2:15. So we have a little bit of time between that. Unless you have any questions, just put it in the chat.
All right. I don't see a question for me here. I'm sure that I confused some people in the e-commerce space. I think there is an opportunity for e-commerce to partner with their tech providers and do case studies. I've actually seen this around. There's a good golf club company that does this, and even one of Snow Teeth Whitening has done that. Partnering with tech companies, if you serve a mass market product, and then having them do a case study of how you use their tool, it actually just gets massive amounts of exposure and can just drive new sales. They're kind of an influencer, but it's an unintended kind of audience. You know, it's kind of like an angle that you come into consumer marketing, since everybody is a consumer, but it's technically a B2B play. But I didn't want to talk about that today because I could do a whole nother deck on how e-commerce merchants can use partnerships to drive revenue. I'd be happy to chat with anybody about that afterwards as well.